My name is Doug Turner, and most people know me as Dirt. Back in 2008, I was working on this web series called That New Toy Smell. And we did toy reviews and commentaries and, whatever. And one of the gimmicks of that show was that I always wore a lucha mask. And it was a lot of times a different mask in every episode, at least for a while. They get kind of expensive after a while. But it was just one of those quirky things to make it stand out and be a little different. But somewhere, I don't know if it was directly on that show or maybe on Twitter. I was talking to somebody. We used to do a lot of podcasts and just webisodes of things and reviews of stuff. And someone asked me my favorite TV show of all time, and I said, of course, Millennium. It was, it is, probably always will be. And shortly thereafter, I get this tweet from this guy, Troy Foreman. And he lets me know that he's working on a website called Back to Frank Black with James McLean. McLean? Anybody know how to, I don't know how you pronounce it. But anyway, and he goes, hey, I see you do videos. I see you work on video stuff. Would you be willing to, do some videos for Back to Frank Black? And, of course, yes, absolutely. I would love to. I love the show, and anything I could do to kind of help out the awareness of Millennium, try to get people, interested, try to push for another show or a movie or, whatever it was going to be. Yeah, I was all for that. So I started doing these videos. I just grabbed my camcorder. It was a Sony, I think it was called a Webby. It was orange. It was bright orange HD video camera, 720. And I would go down into my dark basement and I would film these videos and talk about an episode. I would just pull up an episode. I'd throw in a couple clips. I'd have a couple stills over my shoulder maybe, and just kind of talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, whatever. And it was given the moniker of "Here's My Thing," which was Laura Means' quote. She would always say, "Here's my thing," which, huge fan of the character, love the actress, so I thought that was great. But doing it, part of the idea of doing it was to help build the community of Millennium fans, to help not only bring new people in, but just keep people talking about it, keep the conversation going, keep it on people's minds. Something people a lot of people were pushing for Millennium to come to Netflix around that time. Again, bring back the TV show, miniseries, whatever. And so I would engage. So I'd put out a video, and then people would leave comments, or they would tweet comments, or they'd ask questions or whatever, and then we do like a response video. One of the things was the people would write in, and I would need something to put over my shoulder, because it looked like I tried to do it like a newscast type thing where you had the thing over your shoulder, and someone would write in. Of course, you don't have a picture of them or anything, so I would just Google their name. And the first picture that popped up, that would be their avatar. That would be who it was. So I remember this one guy, Yosef, wrote in, and so I Googled it, and the first picture was like this homeless guy someone had taken a picture of named Yosef, so that became Yosef. And he wrote in several times and was always portrayed by that homeless guy. And it was a fun way to get some response, get some back and forth with people. And because I was a huge fan myself, I loved talking about the show, and I still do. Still to this day, I'm a collector. I collect all kinds of things. I love Millennium stuff. I'm always collecting stuff. If you look at the videos, behind me was a comic book display case. A local comic book shop had closed, and I got one of their display cases, and I would use it behind me. I would do comic reviews. I'd fill it with comics, that kind of stuff. When I was doing Millennium, I would throw Millennium stuff on the rack, over my shoulder, so it would be on display. So you can watch back there, and you can see like some of the DVD box sets. You can see some of the old magazines, Starlog and stuff back there that would have Millennium, Millennium-centric issues, and I would, throw them on there. I still collect Millennium stuff. I mean, if I'm at a bookstore and I find copies of the novels, I pick them up. And I've got multiple copies of these books. The DVDs, I think, the DVDs are right back here. And then I bought, they sold them individually. So when they first came out on DVD, you had to buy them a season at a time. And then, of course, later on, I even saw the insert in there. But then later on, as they came out, they released the complete series. So, of course, I bought that box set too, the VHS if anybody remembers this, this is actually from a family video rental location. This was actually their rental cassette, and I ended up buying it off of them so that I would have a copy of this. I've got copies of the Japanese ones somewhere. This is one of my favorites, actually. I have a doll. I have one doll in my collection, and my doll is a Lance Henriksen. They did the Millennium crossover with X-Files, which not a huge fan of that particular episode, but because he appeared on that episode of X-Files, they had the X-Files license. They didn't actually need the Millennium license since they had the X-Files one. He was in there, so they made a Frank Black, white hair, Frank Black doll. So I bought it, of course, and then it's autographed by Lance Henriksen. That was cool. This is a desk calendar, 1998. It's a hardcover, and it's the type of thing that you just put on your desk and you write. If you have some meetings and stuff going on, you write them in your calendar, and then it has artwork. It's got quotes from some of the different people. It's got just some religious artwork. Depictions of hell and stuff like that tie into some of the episodes. Picture of Brad Dourif. That's always cool right there. So this is just one of those like weird, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I have to have that. Like that. Yeah, absolutely. That's coming home with me. I've never seen anything like it again. Maybe they did these for X-Files. I don't know. Maybe they did them for later years of Millennium. But I think probably only the first season, and that's mostly what this covers. 1998. My wife, we were dating. Well, actually, we had dated, and then we broke up, and then we ended up getting back together again, and then we got married. But we had broken up, and then she wanted to come back and spend time because she realized it was a mistake and wanted to be with me and blah, 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 whatever. But she always wanted to come over and hang out on Friday nights, and that's when Millennium was on. And so, I remember saying, hey, you can come over on Friday nights, but you got to sit on the couch and be quiet. Like, just don't talk. Like, when commercials come on, we can talk during commercials, but we're not talking during the show. And I held her to that, and she still married me anyway. Getting feedback from people is one of those things that keeps you going. When you're making videos, you're doing content, you're producing stuff, and I still to this day I will get responses from people on some of the Millennium episodes. The episodes were hosted by backtofrankblack.com. I think they put them on Daily Motion. They're on my YouTube channel. They're on the Pop Culture Network YouTube channel. Probably some other places they're floating around as well. But even to this day, I did this one commentary, critique, review of Jose Chung's Doomsday Defense, which is not my favorite Millennium episode. I know for a lot of people it is. For me, I didn't really like the comedy tone of it compared to Millennium and the nut punch and all that stuff that goes on in that episode. And still to this day, 7 years later after I recorded it, I still get comments from people, you're an idiot, it's the best show Millennium of all time. Hey, I'm an idiot, let me know on YouTube. That's fine. I'm a big enough man to take it. So, but it's just nice to know that the people are still out there. They're still acting and reacting and interacting, and that's always nice. Back to Frank Black did a book several years ago, and as they were gearing up to make this book, they asked me if I would write something for it because I had been a contributor on the website and everything, and I really wanted to, but I was looking. My kids were getting older. They were getting into school. They were more than just these little lumps of flesh that you just kind of held on to. They were talking and walking and stuff, and I wanted to spend more time with my kids and not do as much stuff online on the internet. I'm not trying to be internet famous by doing a lot of this stuff. I just do it because I love doing it and everything. And with my kids getting a little older, and I was working more at the time, and I just kind of said, there are a lot of really smart, really talented people working on this book. They don't need me. You know, these people are a lot smarter than I am. You know, I wished them well, and I kind of stepped back at that point, and I was like, you guys seem to have it under control. You've got a lot of people helping out now. You don't really need me anymore. And it was a fantastic read. If you haven't read it, you want to go out and definitely, you know, read some of that. There's some great stuff in there. Of course, the comic book, of course, I bought all the issues, the variant covers, the retailer incentives. I bought the trade paperback when it came out. I bought it digitally on Comixology also. You know, like I said, Millennium has always been a big part of who I am. I really enjoyed the show. Maybe we'll get the Jordan spinoff series sometime in the future. That's what, or movie, you know, whatever. Maybe we can get that going. So anyway, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed everyone that I've interacted with, and you know, if I'm not the biggest fan of Jose Chung's Doomsday Defense and everybody hates me for it, then so be it.